Hello dear students, let us see chapter number 5, the summit within. Now this particular lesson, the summit within, is one of the best lessons of class 8 course. Now we are going to see in this lesson about Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. He was member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. We are going to see in this lesson that how did he feel when he stood on the highest point in the world. Now we are going to see his feelings, his experience. Mind you, this lesson is not about how do you climb Mount Everest. It is about that how one feels after climbing Mount Everest, and what are the feelings that Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia was going through while he was climbing the Mount Everest, and after he came back, how the entire experience changed his thought process, his philosophy of life. Now here, interestingly, the title of the lesson is The Summit Within. It is not the summit outside or simply the summit. And what does summit mean? Summit means height. Okay, the highest point of something is known as summit. Now here the title of the story is Summit Within. Now why the story or the lesson has been titled The Summit Within, that we will understand at the end of the lesson. Okay. Now the things which you have to keep in mind while you study this lesson is, that is the kind of words that are being used in the lesson. Okay. The expression, the way the language has been written and the words are used. We have to understand the words very carefully. Though you can see that on the right hand side of your, that is on the right hand side you can see the jargon where the word and the meaning are given. So that will help. In between there are many words, and the moment I start explaining to you, I will be explaining the meaning also. So I would like to take this lesson line by line, because you need to understand. Understanding of this particular lesson is very important. Okay. Now let us see the first paragraph. Now the first paragraph starts like, after Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia climbed Mount Everest, and I hope everybody knows about Mount Everest. So after he climbed Mount Everest, after he posted the Indian flag over there, and after all his hard work, when he reached the summit of the world, what were his feelings? So let us see all these things in the first paragraph itself. Now he says, of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama below us, the dominant one, I think, was humility. Now the word humility here is very important. Okay, that when you reach the top of anything, what is your first reaction? You are very happy, you are excited, isn't it? You feel as if you have achieved something very, very grand in life, right? But what was Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia's feelings? That is the first emotion that surged through him, that is, that arose in him intensely and suddenly, when he was looking miles and miles of the panorama below us, that is, when he was looking at the wide area. And among all those feelings, the most dominant one, that is the most strong one, was humility. And what is humility? That is, humility is your sense of humbleness. For Hindi we call it Vinamrata. that he had this sense of humility. Now what happens? There are many reactions and there are many responses which arise in you when you achieve something grand, that you are happy, you feel proud. Okay, there is a sense of pride also. You feel that you are better than anybody else. But what we have to learn, that even if we have achieved the greatest heights, we should be very humble. That we should learn from this particular experience of Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia, that the moment you reach the summit of anything, this feeling of humility should be there in you. Now the physical in me seemed to say, thank God, it's all over. That is, the body was saying that thank God, all the hard work was over. However, instead of being jubilant, there was a tinge of sadness. That instead of being very happy, there was, that is, he was happy because he was successful in climbing the Mount Everest. Still there was a little bit of sadness in him. And what was that sadness? Was it because I had already done the ultimate, this particular part? And from here the word ultimate is very important. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb and all those hereafter would lead down? So what was the tinge of sadness? That he was feeling that I have achieved something great in life now. I have reached the top of the world. Now what remains? And this happens when you achieve the greatest height, then suddenly you will have the feeling, I have achieved the greatest thing in life. Now what next? You cannot do anything below than that because you have set the standards, and that's why he feels, was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb? Because there is obviously nothing higher to climb than Mount Everest, because that is the world's highest peak. So when you have reached the highest level, so you set the standard so high that obviously you feel a little bit sad that what you are going to do next. Now, by climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. Now, what are your other reactions when you have finished scaling Mount Everest and have you reached the top, or in other way, that when you have achieved the greatest height of your life, that you are overwhelmed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. That is, you are filled with a deep sense of joy. You are filled with a deep sense of happiness and thankfulness. That is, you are thankful to God that at last all your hard work has been paid off well. It is a joy which lasts lifetime. That is, whatever joy and satisfaction you get, that remains for the entire life. Very importantly, the experience changes you completely. That is, whatever you experience throughout the journey, after you have finished after you have achieved what you wanted, the entire experience changes you as a person. The man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. That is, it is said that those who are mountaineers and those who are climber, and once you have reached the once you have visited the mountains, when you have explored the mountains, and thereafter when you come back, you are never the same person, because it is such a place where you face a lot of challenges. And human beings, the moment they start facing challenges, they know about themselves well. And that's why Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia says, the man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. That is, he gains a lot of experiences. He is a changed person. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind. That is, this is the important factor in this particular lesson, the summit of the mind. You can, scaling Mount Everest is nothing but a physical achievement. Like, you have scaled a Mount Everest, you know the height and you have scaled it. But what about the summit of the mind, that how you can achieve control over your mind. So that's why he says no less formidable and no easier to climb. That it is, if you consider your mind as Mount Everest, then it is very, very difficult and to scale your mind. It is very formidable. That is, it is formidable because you do not know the depth of your mind or the height of your mind. So it is, you feel quite terrified because you do not know because you are not aware of the depth of your mind and the height of your mind. So you are not aware of the possible dangers that might come in your way. So that's why he says the summit of the mind no less formidable and no easier to climb. Okay. Next is, now even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion had gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. A very important question in the lesson, that Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia questions himself that why did he go for climbing the Mount Everest. That why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It was already a thing of the past, something done yesterday. With every passing day, it would become more remote. And then what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? So he wanted to cherish that memory. That's why he was thinking, he was questioning himself that after climbing Mount Everest, he started questioning then why did he climb the Mount Everest? What did he learn from climbing the Mount Everest, and is it just going to go waste? That is the memory of climbing Mount Everest is going to just be a case of the past? He wanted to make his experience memorable, and that is why he further writes, all these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. There must be some reason that why people climb mountains. Okay. Now, why do people ride bike? Why do people drive car? Why do people swim? Why do people play? There must be some particular reason. That's why people do. So, in the same way, why do people climb mountains? He started questioning himself. It is not easy to answer the question. The simplest answer, that is the answer he gives himself, the simplest answer would be, as others have said, because it is there. That is, because they want to climb Mount Everest, because the mountain is there and they want to climb it. That's it. It presents great difficulties. A very important part again of this lesson. It presents great difficulties. That is, climbing Mount Everest presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. That is, human beings always take pleasure, they are happy when they overcome obstacles, that is the difficulties. The obstacles in climbing a mountain are physical. That is, you meet with all the physical dangers and the challenges like slipping down, hurting yourself, or maybe dying. So, the obstacles in climbing mountains are physical. Sometimes the snowy wind, glaciers, avalanche, all the things. So, a climb to a summit means endurance. So, here we are going to see another very important thing. What does a climb to a summit means? What are the things which are required to climb a summit? Endurance, persistence and willpower. That you need endurance, that is stamina, you should be physically fit, you should have strength. Persistence, that you have to continuously climb, you have to continuously be after it, that yes, I have to climb it, I have to climb it. And then willpower, that is the strong determination that yes, I will do it at any cost. The three things to climb a Mount Everest or to climb a summit are required. Not only Mount Everest, but any other summit of life are required. First is endurance, that is stamina. Second is persistence, that you should be after it, and third is willpower, that you should have the determination to do the task which you have taken up. The demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt exhilarating, as it was for me also. That is, man always likes to demonstrate these physical qualities because it is no doubt exhilarating. It is very exciting, as it was for me also. Like HPS Ahluwalia said, this is something very common, that everybody wants to display their physical qualities. They say, I have stamina. Like, why do you participate in races during sports day? Because you want to display your stamina, you want to display to everybody that you are better than the other racers. You want to show how well you can run, and you want to show people that how fast you can run, right? So, the display of these physical qualities, they are quite very exciting for human beings, and so it was the same case with HPS Ahluwalia. Okay. Next. He says, I have a more personal answer to the question. From my childhood, I have been attracted by mountains. And he gives a reason that why he climbed Mount Everest, because from the childhood itself he was very attracted by mountains. I had been miserable, lost, when away from mountains in the plains. Mountains are nature at its best. Their beauty and majesty pose a great challenge, and like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. So that was his idea, that he was always very fascinated and attracted. He was fascinated with mountains, he was attracted towards mountains because of their beauty and majesty, and he felt that mountains are the only ways to have a connection with God. It is said that those who are climbers and mountaineers, when they climb, when they start climbing the summit, or when they, trekkers also, when they explore the mountains, they become very philosophical, because the entire place is such a, the entire place is so secluded, still not explored by many human beings. That is why whenever you go towards the mountains, you feel very philosophical. So he believed that mountains are a means of communion with God. That's why you will see that most of the sannyasis and the ascetics, they choose the mountainous region to do all their sadhanas and the tapasyas, because it is said that these places are very pure and sacred, and it helps you to get connected to your mind and soul, right? So let it be this much for today, and in the next class I will be dealing with the rest of the lesson. Okay. So you can read it further. I hope you will understand it, but still I will explain to you paragraph by paragraph everything. Okay. Thank you.